If I had to start a business from scratch today, starting at zero, ground zero, I would do my website completely different than I did back in the day. Not because what I did when I first started out was wrong, but because I know things now that I didn't know then. And I know what actually matters, what's a waste of time, and what converts and just looks pretty. And I also know what business owners regret spending money on versus what pays for itself 10 times over. So today, I thought I'd walk you through exactly how I'd approach my website if I were launching my business in 2026. This isn't the perfect way, and this is not the way that everyone should do it, but this is a strategic, skip the mistakes, get it working faster way that I think that you might enjoy. Because the thing is, most new business owners either absolutely overthink their website and never launch, or they rush it and end up redoing it 6 months later. And I'd love to show you the middle path, the one that gets you launched with something that can actually work for you. Welcome to Website Design Made Simple, the podcast for busy small business owners who want a high performing website that converts and sells their offers, even while they're sleeping. Because you deserve to have a strategic and beautiful website that truly represents your brand and positions you as the expert that you are. I'm your host, Jenny B, web designer and creative director at Jenny B Designs, where we believe that your website is the one thing that makes you sales and builds your brand at the same time. Ready to say goodbye to a website that you're embarrassed to share? And hello to a money-making, personality-packed powerhouse? Let's head into today's episode. Welcome back to the pod. I am so excited to have you here. This episode was inspired by another podcast that I listened to. It was from, I think, an SEO expert, and she was sharing what she would do if she was going to do SEO fresh in 2026. And I thought, oh, I can apply this to if you were creating a website. Now, let's start with what you should do before you even touch the website part of creating things. The first thing that would be helpful to focus on is getting crystal clear on who you're talking to. The biggest mistake I see new business owners make is that they build a website before they know who they're serving. And if I were starting today, what I would do first is define my ideal client with specifics as much as you can, because I do know that when you are a new business, you're starting out and you just don't know what you don't know, right? But I want you to really think about in your mind, who is your ideal client? If we were talking about women, you wanted to work with women business owners, that's a little bit broad. But getting more specific, maybe talking about how you want to work with women who are, like if you are a VA, you want to work with women launching service businesses who are overwhelmed by tech. You're getting specific on their problems, not their demographics per se, but their problems. What is the problem that they have? And a lot of times when we talk about niching, it can get kind of crazy. People who tell you to create your avatar and find out what they're reading and what they're listening to and the TV shows that they watch. And even I get overwhelmed by that. But if you can think about who you want to serve and get really specific on the problem that they're having that you can solve for them. That is a really great way to get specific when I say that. And if you aren't sure, try interviewing a few people. Maybe you've worked with a few clients before, or maybe you know a few people that would make good clients. Interview them, ask them, what are they searching for? And record these conversations. What are they searching for? What questions do they ask? What makes them trust a business? And what language do they use? And that's why I say record it, because if you record it, you can listen to that recording and get their exact words that they use to describe the problems that they have. And AI is a great tool for this. I love using AI to help me do tasks that are more detailed related like this. This is a great use case. Being able to pop that transcript of an interview, pop it in there and ask it to get the language that people were using, specific words, how they were expressing a problem that they have. And why you want this information is because your website copy, the words on your website, your design, your entire structure needs to speak to one person. Because when you speak to everyone, you connect with no one. And when I started, I think I was designing websites for small businesses. It's really generic. It's forgettable. It talks to everyone. But if I were starting today, I would say that I design strategic websites for service-based business owners who want a website that reflects their personality or attracts their ideal clients. I'm getting more specific. I am designing a specific type of website for a specific type of person that solves a problem that they have. It's that specificity, if I can say that. And it's important to really think about your messaging before you even get into the design. A lot of people start a business and they say, "This is wonderful. Let's pick the colors, pick the fonts." And they focus on the words last. And I am a believer that words are equally as important to the design and the emotion that this website invokes. So if I were to launch a website today, I would write some words first. The headline: what do you do? How do you help? And think of that call to action that you want people to take and test it on some people. Before you even get started on your website, share with a couple people in that hero section. What do you want it to say? And do they immediately understand what you're trying to do? Because if you have a great hero headline and subheadline, then you can write the rest of your website better because it becomes more clear. When I designed my website the first time, I didn't have that clarity on messaging. And I found that I had to redo everything because the design didn't match what I was actually trying to say. The second thing to think about is choosing one clear goal for the website. New business owners try to make their websites do everything: book calls, sell products, build email lists, got the portfolio, the blog. You got a lot of stuff going on. I have always believed, and I've always shared, that your website has to have a purpose, and you have to be leading people to the singular action that you want them to take, the first step in your sales process. For a lot of service-based businesses, it's for people to book a discovery call or to fill out that form. Perhaps you have an offer that the people can buy on the spot, then maybe that's what you're leading them to. If you don't have an offer and you're just trying to get people on your email list, that is your main call to action. Whatever it is, your website needs to support that one goal. All of your call to actions buttons lead to that goal. Your homepage flows and guides people to that goal. Navigation, same thing, guides people to that goal. It matters because a website with a clear goal converts so much better than a website that's trying to do everything. Now, the minimal viable website that I would launch with if I were starting today would be about 5 pages. I'm not going to build a 12, 13-page website right out of the gate. I would start with 5 pages. The first one would be the homepage. And this is one of the most important parts of your website. And it would share who I serve, what I do, how I help, some social proof, and clear calls to action. Then there would be a services page. And I'm saying one because I don't want to overwhelm you. I am a firm believer that each service should have its own page on your website. But if you are starting out, start with the singular services page. Share what you offer, who's it for, how it works. If you have a specific process, and maybe you don't have that firmed up yet, that's okay. And include the investment because pricing transparency is critical and a call to action. The third page would be the about page. Who are you? Why do you do this? Why should people trust you? And a call to action. And this page isn't specifically about you. It's about why you are the best fit to help your clients. It's always about them. The fourth page would be the contact page. This would be where you would put that contact form or the booking link. You could also add a few FAQs, common objections on that page, contact details. And then the fifth page is actually a page that sometimes people forget, and it's the legal policies, your privacy policy. That's it, your 5 pages. And this privacy policy is something that is important because it is telling people what you do with their personal information when they land on your website. If you are taking names and emails through a contact form or through a scheduler, you need to disclose, what are you doing with that information? Are you selling it? Hopefully not. You're not selling it. You're using it so that you can talk to them and get more information from them. But you need to disclose what you're doing with that information. And there are some privacy policy templates that you can get online. I love Termageddon as a service. It is an online privacy policy generator that updates every time the law changes. So your privacy policy is always updated. Or if you have a small business lawyer, you can talk to them. But the privacy policy is the 5th page. That is what I would have on a starter website. You don't need a blog yet. You don't need a resources. You don't need a portfolio page. Launch with these essentials. And then add more when you have that actual client work to showcase. You have actual questions to answer in your blog posts. And you can always grow from this basic 5-page starter. The one design investment that I would make if I were starting out and I had a limited budget, where would I spend my money? I would spend it on a mini brand. Why is this? When you're starting out, I believe that you are still finding yourself. You're still finding your footing, unless you've been doing this for a little while or you have a really clear sense of who you are. And I have worked with some clients who have been starting out, but they know who they are and what they do. Yes, I do believe that their business will change over time, but they have a clear idea. But those who are not, I think that for your website, you can either create it yourself or use a template, a really strategic template to design your website, those primary first pages. Because again, this is your starter website. I don't think that you're going to have this website for the rest of your life or even in the next year or two. I think that this is your starter website. However, what I would invest in would be a brand. And I am not talking about a large brand identity project because those can be more in depth, time consuming. And I think that is something that you want to embark in on when you know more about who you are. But I do think you need a brand. And either it can be DIY if you are someone who is good with this, or there are also options like a mini brand. Your brand, it needs to be cohesive across everything. And when I say brand, I mean your logo, colors, and fonts. This is where your identity comes from. And it is on your website, your social media, your business cards, your proposals. Everything stems from this brand. It is harder to change that later. It's where the foundation builds on. I would say work with a brand designer if you can for a really simple package. Get a logo that works for you at this point in time, a color palette, font selection, basic brand guidelines. And then use that to customize a website template or work with a junior designer or even do it yourself. I built something free for you and I want to tell you about it. It's a bot and it's called the Homepage Clarity Check. What happens is you drop your website URL into the bot. It reviews your homepage the way a website strategist would, like me, and it tells you what a new visitor actually sees, what's working, and what to fix first. You can find it at jennybdesigns.com or click the link in the show notes. Now back to the episode. That is where I would start because you do want cohesive brand identity through all of the different channels that you are on. And when you are starting out and you're using those Canva templates for your social media and your business cards and you got all these different fonts and all these different colors, there isn't that continuity of branding and that recognition of your brand. And it's harder to build upon that foundation. Starting with a brand and having everything expand from there is a really good way to start. Now let's talk about the tech, the things behind the website I would use if I were launching today. For a website platform, I believe that if you are doing it yourself, Squarespace and Showit are wonderful options to start with. WordPress also has some templates, some themes that you can use. But for ease of use, Squarespace and Showit are a really good way if you're do it yourself. If you are working with a designer or a junior designer, then I would say use whatever platform that they're going to build on as long as it is customizable and easy for you to use on your end. I would also say that it is important to get a professional email address. Something like, Jenny at jennybdesigns.com, not just jennyb@gmail.com. The first one is a professional email with my domain. And you can do this through Google. Once you buy your domain, which is where your website is going to be, you can easily set up a professional email address on Google. And if you do go with Google, you also get their Drive. And so that is a great way that you can save files and anything that you need to use for your business end of things and keep it separate from your personal files. It's a good way and a good habit to start right from the beginning. A booking system is also important because it makes it easy for people to book calls without that emailing back and forth. Calendly, Square, TidyCal. Selecting a type of booking system, even Google Calendar has a way that you can schedule appointments there. Having a booking system reduces that back and forth and it adds a level of professionalism to when you are trying to schedule clients. When you're thinking about tools, I want you to pick something that is simple enough that you can manage it yourself, but professional enough so that it shows your business in that professional way and it won't embarrass you. Those are the two things I want you to keep in mind. Now, what should you prioritize? Progress over perfection, because it's not going to be perfect. If I were starting today, I would give myself a deadline. I would say, all right, I'm going to give myself 4 weeks from today to launch my website. Not when it's perfect, not when I have more content, not when I get that last testimonial from that person. 4 weeks, non negotiable, because your website's never going to be perfect. It is never going to be finished. You're going to have to live with it and you're going to keep tweaking it for months to come. And you can't get enough testimonials or clients or feedback until you launch. It's never going to be perfect. What good enough looks like is clear messaging, that homepage, that hero section about who you serve, what you do. Professional design, even if it's a template, an easy way to contact you or book a call, no broken links or typos, and mobile friendly. That's it. You don't need that blog with those 15 posts. You don't need that video testimonial that you're waiting for. You don't need custom graphics for every section. You just need a launch and then improve based on real feedback from real people. And when it comes to SEO, if I were starting out, I would put a little bit of time into looking for some keywords that people were searching for my offer. Using that exact phrase in the page titles and some headers and content. If you take a little bit of time when you're starting out, it will pay off. I do know that as your website is going to expand, you'll be adding to it and increasing the amount of keywords that you use. But for those essential pages when you're starting out, it can only help if you put that foundation there. I would also start with a Google Business Profile, and this is important too. It is free, it's easy to set up, and it shows in local searches you show in that map pack, and it builds credibility. And it helps Google understand what your website does. And then the next thing I would do is have meta descriptions on every single page. This is a text that shows up under the title in the Google search results. It's like an ad. People see the title of your page, and then underneath it has those blue words, and it is what makes people want to click to your website. So take some time when you're setting up that website to add meta descriptions for every page. I think when I launched my website, I didn't even have any SEO work done and I had no meta descriptions. And Google, when I looked on Google, I had nothing. I think even Google pulled something from the page. It made no sense. I went in and fixed that real fast because I didn't know and I wondered why I wasn't showing up for certain things. Putting that little effort into getting everything set up for that foundation will really pay off. Now, let's talk about the mistakes that I would say I'd want you to avoid. What shouldn't you waste your time on? What shouldn't you do? A couple of things. The first thing is you don't need a blog with 20 posts before you launch. Well, you can launch without a blog. If you want a blog, add one post and add content based on questions clients actually ask. It is the quality of these blog posts over the quantity. I also wouldn't spend weeks and weeks choosing the perfect stock photo. I would just pick something simple and something clean. And think of that as a placeholder because it is important to invest in brand photography when you can. Brand photography, having a photographer take photos of you in action or your clients or whatever it is that you do, it builds that emotional connection and it brings out your personality online and it is a differentiating factor. Start with some clean, simple images. Don't spend hours looking for the perfect stock photo. You also don't have to learn code. Use a template. Hire a junior designer if you can afford it. Your time is better spent getting clients. I can't tell you how many people that have come to me and they said, I've spent weeks and weeks trying to understand how to build this website. That is time wasted. Your time is better spent getting on clients. Don't make that mistake. Also, don't copy what's trendy. Trendy designs date really, really fast. You can tell that something was built when it was built if it has a trendy design. If you focus on classy, clean designs and what converts, not what's cool, it will pay off better in the long run. And you don't have to build features that you don't need yet. If you don't have any members, like if you wanna have a membership, but you don't have any members yet, don't spend time building a complex membership portal. If you don't have products, you're not selling products yet, but you wanna eventually have a shop, don't wait to launch until you build out this perfect shop. Just launch. Get it out there into the world. And you don't need a 10-page website if you offer one service. Simple, like I told you, those 5 simple pages is where you can start. I wish someone had told me a long time ago that your website is an employee. It is not a piece of art. It is not a trophy. It's not there to look beautiful or to impress other designers or win awards. It is there to work for you 24/7, bringing in leads, answering questions, building trust, and making sales. That is an important thing to remember. It doesn't have to be a work of art. And I see a lot of new business owners worrying that their website isn't beautiful enough or fancy enough. That's not what it's there for. It's there to work for you and bring you in leads. If someone lands on your homepage right now, can they figure out what you do, who you help, and how to take the next step in under 3 seconds? And if the answer is yes, your website is working. If it's no, it doesn't matter how gorgeous it is or how you picked the most beautiful template or your designer created something beautiful for you. It's then just a creative project. It's not a business tool. And it is not working for you. You are prioritizing what is beautiful over what converts. And if you launch with good right now with what you have instead of waiting for perfect, you're going to measure success by results, not just compliments. That is how you build a website that grows your business. So don't wait. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't have to be beautiful and gorgeous. It needs to be right and convert for you. And it needs to be an employee and work for you 24/7. So to wrap it all up, if you were starting a business, if I were starting a business in 2026, what would I do? I would define my ideal client, nail my messaging, and choose a website goal. Then I would pick my tech stack and set up my email, my Google profile, and choose a website template or hire a brand designer for a mini brand. Then I would build my 5 core pages, add a little bit of SEO and a booking system. And then I would promote it and get feedback and make changes and improve it based on what I learn. 4 weeks. 4 weeks to make this happen from start to finish. And if you're doing it all yourself, and if you're only paying a little bit of money for branding, or if you're doing your brand yourself, you saved that investment that you can put to investing in a more professional website when the time comes. But the thing about it is that the biggest lesson I've learned, the best website is the one that's live. It's the one that you're still perfecting, not the one that you're planning to launch soon or the one that's going to happen as soon as. It's the one that's out there working for you, bringing in leads while you're living your life. So if you are launching your business in 2026, give yourself permission to launch with good, and you can make it great later. Your business, it deserves to be online so that clients can find you, and you deserve to stop letting perfect get in the way of profitable. And if you already have a website out there and you've put out good and you want to work and make it a little bit more profitable, then a website coaching call might be a good fit. Together, we can walk through your website. I can share with you some ways you can make it a little bit more strategic, and you'll have a clear roadmap after that call, and you can make some changes and make it work a little bit better for you. I hope this episode was interesting and helpful for you. And if you are starting a business in 2026, I would love to see your website. Shoot me an email with the URL. I'll take a peek, and it's fun. And I wish you the greatest luck and success with everything. And I will talk to you all next time. And that wraps up another episode of Website Design Made Simple. I hope you found the insights shared in this episode valuable and takes you one step closer to creating a website that attracts more of your ideal clients and builds your brand. If you enjoyed this episode, please take a minute to leave a review on Apple Podcasts or a rating on Spotify. Your review will help us reach more small business owners like you who are ready to make more money with their website. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.